You know, ProSci have a great advanced practitioner class. I'd recommend it to anyone. And part of it, we look at different methodologies used for change management around the world. And I mentioned some of them in other videos. One of the things I like about it is that they characterise them in terms of organisational focused methodologies and individual focused methodologies. I once tried to draw a Venn diagram showing all the overlaps, and there certainly are overlaps, but I haven't finished my Venn diagram, so it's pretty complicated. Some of the organisational change management methodologies are the AIM, Accelerated Implementation Methodology, the Beckard and Harris Change Management Process, Bridges Leading Transition Model, Change Leaders Roadmap, General Electric's Acceleration Process, CAP, John Cotter's 8-step model for change, Kurt Lewin's 3-stage change management methodology, Lamarche Managed Change Model, ProSci itself of course, and then there's the Virtual Change Network. Then there's the personal change models. ProSci is in that, unlike many of the other ones, but there's also the Kubler-Ross change curve model. And then in terms of organisational change capability models, you've got the Boston Consulting Group's Change Delta, the People-Centred Implementation PCI model, and of course you've got ProSci as well. Now, many of these are linear models, so it's step by step. Let's look at the AIM, for example, Accelerated Implementation Methodology. It's got 6 goals, and you do it in a linear fashion. So you define the implementation, you generate sponsorship, you build change agent or champion capabilities, you develop target readiness, you communicate, and you develop a reinforcement strategy. Or if we look at the Bridges Leading Transition Model, it's got 3 phases that break down into about 13 steps. So the phase 1 is letting go. In that, we've got to describe the reasons for the change, communicate during transition, and consider and encourage endings. Part 2, the neutral zone, listen, emphasise and support, develop temporary roles, short-term goals, don't overpromise, celebrate small wins, and then provide learning opportunities. And then the third element is new beginnings. Model new attitudes and behaviours, be consistent, symbolise the new identity and celebrate success. And Bridges is really exploring human behaviours and relating to change, and defines typical emotions individuals might exhibit during the change process. And if you look at Ackerman Anderson's Change Leaders Roadmap, there's 9 steps to that. If you look at the General Electric CAP process, there's 7 steps to that. If you look at the Cotter model, there's 8 steps to that. And then there's a category called Organisational Change Capability Models. If you look at the Boston Consulting Group, they have Change Delta, and they prescribe broad interconnected organisational competencies that are required for excellent change management. I would characterise 2 main distinctions between them. Some are mostly linear, some are interconnected, some are organisational focused, and some start with the individual, including in that latter category ProSci. But if I ever get around to doing my big Venn diagram of all of this, there's a lot of commonalities. Sponsorship features in all of them, communication features in all of them, champions features in all of them. But for me, methodologies that start with the individual are key. And I've described this before, but ultimately we're asking people to change something that they do, change how they work. And that's a very personal thing for human beings. How do you change? We've looked at Jungian psychology before on that. As Jung said, even in the face of empirical data, I'm necessarily talking about myself. And for me, it's that personal decision to embrace, adopt and use a change. And the aggregation of all those individual personal decisions becomes organisational change. And I love the way that ProSci approaches both. If you think about it, the ADKAR model in ProSci is the steps an individual takes to achieve that personal decision to embrace, adopt and use a change. And what leverages those personal decisions to the organisational level are the 5 change management action plans. So ProSci recognises both. It recognises that individuals change, but it also figures out a way to leverage that to the organisational level so that we can take action and take advantage of those individual decisions. And it's also useful to become familiar with and read around all those other methodologies, because they've all got tremendously wise words of advice. For example, the Change Leaders Roadmap, and there's great advice on what kind of resistance to expect from individuals in the current transition and future states, suggestions as to how to mitigate those through the current transition and future states. So you can go around all of these methodologies and pick up great advice, great approaches to change management. For me, you've got to have some sort of base to all of that. For me, base is of course ProSci, but certainly use all the good stuff from all those other methodologies. So I hope that helps.